Hartman show on this station? You know who Tom Hartman is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hartman does a 3-hour show every day on this station, and he refers to that quite often about Don Siegelman. And I'm going to ask my station manager here, Felicia, do you know the details on Don Siegelman going to jail? What was the deal with him? Here's Felicia.
I can't remember the exact details, but like you said, it was pretty trivial, and a lot of it was he had some political opponents, and they like trumped stuff up.
Wow, that's amazing. He was a governor, right, of Alabama.
Yes, he was.
And they trumped up the charges, and he went, and I think basically he was opposing something in the Bush administration, and they trumped up the charges, and he went to jail. But I didn't know he was partners with the judge who got blown up, a bomb blown up. That's even worse than I thought.
Well, my source for that is Andrew Craig at the Justice Integrity Project. I encourage your viewers to look at his website too. Andrew's another remarkable journalist.
Wow.
Who appeared at the Justice in Focus presentation.
And before you go back to, if you can remember where we left off, I just want to say, maybe you were even thinking about it. The judge also did a pretty, and maybe you're going to talk about this, did a pretty incredibly strange interpretation of the civil rights law that said that it only refers to slaves or black people. And do you remember that that Danny Sheehan brought that up? That he cited, Danny Sheehan was saying, well, I'm talking about Karen Silkwood case now. That he said that they dismissed the charges against the defendants, which was the nuclear plant industry, who was charged with killing Karen Silkwood and kidnapping her and putting radioactive isotopes in her refrigerator because she was trying to unionize the workers at the nuclear plant. And so all of this, she was kidnapped, her body was disappeared, and then when they found her body, all her internal organs were taken out. I mean, this is like incredible. And so Dana Sheehan said that Karen Silkwood's civil rights were violated. I mean, if Karen Silkwood's civil rights were not violated, that, from what I just described, then it's a rockery, the justice system. And I'm not putting down the whole justice, but at that time, at that moment, it was a rockery because this judge stated, according to Danny Sheehan in his presentation at Focus on Justice last September 11th, he said that the judge said he dismissed the case on the charges of civil rights violations because the civil rights law only applies to black people. You remember that?
I don't remember, but I don't doubt that you're right.
Yeah, I'm going to send it to you when I go home. It's in the video of his presentation at Focus on. When I heard that, I was like, and I have a lawsuit going on right now, which I'm pro se litigant, and it's like, if I knew that before I filed my case, I might not have filed my case because. This is like, if they could do that and nobody. And one question for you before I forget. You said that the defendants had more than one appeal. I thought you only have one appeal.
No, it's possible and particularly in that, I'm not familiar with federal administrative law, but in a dismissal like this, it is possible to appeal more than once.
Oh, that's good news.
Not serially, but to a higher level.
Okay. Go ahead now. If you can remember where you left off. Do all of that.
Well, I think we were.
Before you start, we have to do station identification. We do it every hour on the hour.
now, the exact name of the committee for 9/11 inquiries. We'll just retain is our executive director, Mick Harrison, a public interest lawyer with a background he's actually from Bloomington, Indiana. He's also represented Kevin Ryan on 9/11. But I do want to encourage your viewers to consider supporting that group. You can do it in a number of ways by going to the committee website, which is LC4911.org, LC4911.org. We also have a petition and fundraiser going for this on change.org, which you can most easily get to by
Change.org or wearechange.org?
No, change.org. Actually, the way to get to the change.org petition is through the lawyer's site.
Oh, okay. I know about change.org. Yeah.
If you go to change.org, it's hard to find because it's not indexed well. But if you go to the LCFOR911.org, first off, you'll see some videos of Mr. Harrison. You'll see videos of Danny Sheehan, so you can get an idea of what he had to say at the Justice and Focus Conference. And you can click on a button that takes you to the petition at change.org. And you can also donate right there at that page. Right now, we're in the middle of an interesting appeal. Mick doesn't want to talk too much about it until he gets a ruling, but there is a possibility that we might be able to get in a FOIA case brought by a veteran FOIA researcher against NIST and FEMA. We might be able to win some unprecedented discovery powers, which have, I believe, never been granted in any 9/11 litigation. But we will need to raise money even to cover the cost of those discovery operations, plus other work that we intend to be doing. So, if you think this sounds like something you'd like to support, please. We need folks to step forward. And I want to stress, because we took us a little bit off the subject there with Sheehan's other famous cases. Lawyers Committee for 9/11 Inquiry is focused on 9/11, on the events of 9/11 right now, and clearing up the unanswered questions that arose from that event. And we don't take positions, we don't presume anything, we don't presume guilt or innocence by anyone. We are simply looking at both the areas of unsatisfactory explanations and deficiencies in the legal process that seem to have the most glaring ones, and where we see stepping stones that the law provides, which we think would enable us to proceed in a step-by-step way to gradually unwind whatever ball of twine there is waiting to be unwound. As I said at the Justice and Focus Conference, our inspiration for this is really what NAACP was able to do back in the 30s. The NAACP got started about 1919 when lynchings were the order of the law of the land in the South. And around 1930, when things were not much better, and on top of that you had the Depression breaking out, they formed a legal defense fund. And they had somebody develop a legal strategy that took into account the reality that they were living in, which was that a civil rights lawyer couldn't even get into a courthouse without getting lynched in many places in the South, let alone win a case. So they had to ask the question, under these really daunting circumstances, can you do anything through the courts? And plenty of people came to the conclusion that you couldn't, and they came to the conclusion that you could. And through those very lean years of depression and war, they persevered. Thurgood Marshall became their chief counsel, and supported by the grassroots organization, which was the NAACP, the Legal Defense Fund helped chart the course in the courts, and lo and behold, we had Brown versus Board of Education in 1954 in the middle of the McCarthy era, I believe. So we're not super optimistic about what the courts can do by themselves, but we are hopeful, and we believe that the chances for success are greatly increased if we can build the kind of grassroots support network that the agency had in that time, and that's what TAP is all about. So, what the Land Committee TAP because I remember in law school 50 years ago, even then textbooks said that the courts the Supreme Court doesn't get too far out ahead of public opinion, and we're going to have to drive public opinion as well as litigation if we want the litigation to be successful.
Yeah, that's what Danny Sheehan said, the same thing in his presentation, Focus on Justice. By the way, talking about TAP and local action groups, we have one here in Woodstock.
That's right. You're one of the pioneers for us in upstate New York, and we really appreciate what you're doing.
I have the group here, and we have kind of taken off the past couple of months, but we're going to get it started up again. It meets every fourth Sunday of the month, and we've had a lot of activity over the years here, even before TAP, and now we're signed on with TAP. So we're definitely glad to be part of TAP, and I encourage anybody to email me at Pilgrim Peace. That's Pilgrim like the Mayflower Pilgrims, and not war, peace. So that's Pilgrim Peace at gmail.com if you want to get involved with the Truth Action Project organization, local organization here, support group in